All right, guys, I have no idea what I'm about to watch here. I know that Juji and Tom came out for a visit while we were training, and somewhere around halfway through the visit, I started having them do certain things. So I think the goal of what they wanted to do when they came out here was to train the entire body from head to toe. So they were going to either do one exercise or one superset or a challenge set or whatever you want to call it for each body part. So I do remember that they were trying to figure something out for their neck. So what they figured out, as you can see, we're squatting in the background. What they figured out to do was neck raises using the belt squat machine, which is definitely a Juji type of thought. You know, they should have put some band tension on it. That's me doing reverse band squats with whatever and doing kind of real lifting but on a really high box. And then he's doing high shrugs, so he's going from the neck to the traps. This all I'm not a part of, so it's kind of the first time that I've seen this outside of just skipping through it, trying to figure out how much commentary I was going to have to make up before I got into shit I was actually making them or helping them do. I think he was actually texting when he did the high shrugs. Now he does shoulder raises, and I think he ends up on the ground, so I don't quite understand the point of that, but his head position is spectacular throughout the movement, as you can see. So that must be the neck fatigue from the earlier exercises that he was doing. And back up on the machine again. The fuck is he doing? Rear delt raises. So as you're going to see, as they begin to work down the body, they start to forget a lot of body parts. All right, now we're into the pecs. I do remember this because he tore his shirt off at some point in time. And I may have come in and had him do partials after the full set because he was kind of being a wimp and not pushing hard enough. So at this point, my training's done. And it's just seeing how far I can push him, which each exercise they decided to do, but then they decided to have me start trying to pick different exercises. So I figured I was going to try to wreck their day the best way I possibly could. So I really don't know what I'm talking about here or why he's kneeling on the ground. I think the idea here was to do a mechanical drop set, starting on the high, because we're testing this incline bench. So it's got 6 different positions instead of most of them that have 4. So either that didn't work out or it didn't get shot, and we're overdoing lats. The problem with the lats and why I'm groping him is he's not using his lats. He was using his rear delts and his traps for the row. So I'm trying to get him to focus more on pulling with his lats, and in that position there, trying to get in telling him to visualize a string pulling his sternum up to be able to get his spine in a more neutral position that's going to allow him to drop his shoulders and pull his lats into it. This exercise here, it's kind of like a standing pullover, again, to work the lower lats. So only going up as far as you need to go to get a stretch in the lats. It doesn't need to stretch so much that it's going to start pulling the shoulder joint, and it doesn't need to flex down or go down any further than it was needed to get the lats to actually contract. You'll see with Tom in a minute, he was actually going a little bit too far. You just want to go down until you can get a peak contraction and then stretch at the top. This was supersetted with the rows, where his arms are not locked, and it's not really, it doesn't look like a pullover at this point, but in a second here it will start to. As soon as he begins to feel and start activating with his lats instead of his triceps and pecs. So he's still trying to figure it out here. Juji gets excited and starts filming for some reason. and shirt change. Here what took him higher on the low row to get a different angle. Once again, trying to get more of the tension into the lats and off of the traps. So by bringing the angle up, it brings the pull of the cable lower, which is going to enable him to be able to allow a greater stretch. As you can already see there, his lats are stretching more and more of a contraction. This was supersetted again with the pull downs using a grenade ball, which you can get at elitefts.com. And here you can see the stretch in the lat is good and the contraction in the lat is good. You're not seeing a lot of work being done by the spinal erectors or the traps, which this is the proper way to do the exercise. It doesn't have to be heavy. It's usually going to be something that will be supersetted with a different lat exercise. See if Tom does another set so I can show you how to fuck it up. But this set here is better than what the last one was. And now it's just stretching. And we are... Oh, this is where I had him... I wanted him to show the lifters that I work with how to do a hanging leg raise properly without using a ton of body English. Where the goal of a hanging leg raise, I have my lifters do this as a warm-up to actually open and warm up the hip flexors and the abdominals as well. So the goal is I want them to be able to kick the bar, which he'll do here in a minute, but you can see how it stretches the abdominals and it opens the hip flexors at the bottom. That's just more like a hip hinge at the top. That's what I'd like my lifters to do as part of their warm-up, is kicking fully to the top. Now we're over doing the ab bench. It's kind of hard to see, but I have them squeezing a ball in between their legs to create abdominal pressure, so there's more contraction when they're doing the movement for the abs. And I guess we're done with abs, and now we're on to trying to figure out what they want to do for their biceps. Which this took a while because we had to go through a bunch of different things. This is not what they used. And a lot of that is because Juji just has some arm wrestling thing, so his arm was inflamed because of that. So we're going to use the fat V-bar press down, and we're going to superset it with using the stem and then using the ball, which the stem is going to incorporate a little bit more forearm and grip, which will be done to failure. And then when he moves out to the ball, it's going to be open palm, which is going to take the forearms completely out of it and leave it entirely to the biceps. And his elbows should be higher in the air to be able to get a greater range of motion. All I'm doing here is trying to create more tension with isos on the eccentric. See if I remember this correctly. There we go. So now it's open palm. I had him step forward, reducing the weight because his biceps are already shot, can't move. I don't know how many reps he got after that. And Tom used this teardrop tricep strap basically for the same thing. Starting with the wide and then moving in. Keeping the elbows up. Actually, his form's better than Juji's was. And now we're on to triceps. The thing with the tricep extension here is there's 3 different balls. There's 3 different levels. So with the lower ball and with our teardrop strap as well, you're able to get a full range of motion on the bottom part of the tricep push down, which means he can pull, his arms completely apart to flex the tricep at the bottom. The problem is with most tricep straps, when you're able to pull apart to get the flex at the bottom, you're not going to be able to get the stretch at the top of the movement. Whereas you can see here, as he moves up each grenade ball, he's able to get a greater range of motion at the top but he's losing the range of motion at the bottom. So by doing a tri-set of using all 3 different grenade balls, he's going to get the range of motion all the way from the bottom of the movement to the very top of the movement. And this is just the second tricep movement they did, which was an overhead French press, overhead tricep extension, whatever you want to call it, grenade extension, standing grenade extension, you name it, you can pick it, call it yours, say you invented it. It's yours for the day. It was just a matter of trying to fatigue them as much as possible. Now we're on to lower back. I didn't want to destroy them on their lower back because they still were going to do leg work. So I could have pulverized their lower back with, reverse hypers or stiff leg deadlifts or any good mornings, anything like that. I wanted to keep it very easy and light as far as force and tension, so they'll be able to do their legs and not absolutely have their back not able to stabilize what they're supposed to do later with the legs. The lower back actually should fall later in the training program, but their stupid plan for the day was to work from head to toe, and the lower back is higher than the legs. So it's just a 45-degree back raise, doing a strip set, starting with the med ball. Now we're going to the stupid glutes, which is the glute kickback. Here we did a triple set, which means I do one leg until failure, go to the next leg to failure, and without any rest, go right back to the first leg again to failure, and repeat that 3 times, hence a triple set. So they both did that. I hit them with the cattle prod just for a little bit of extra glute activation. This is where it got fun. Strip set on leg extensions. And I think on this one we actually started them a little bit too light. Should have started 1 plate heavier, which now we're just trying to figure out what weight to use. Since they're doing so many different body parts in one day, there's not a whole lot of warm-up sets, nor is there a need to, because the volume is so high and nothing's really going to be done really heavy. So in my mind, the idea here was to get 3 20s, so 20 strip, 20 strip, 20 strip. Juji gets through it pretty fine without too much of a problem, probably because he cheated with the ammonia capsule. And more leg extensions. This actually gets funny here in a minute, because when I stripped the weight off, I put it on the assisted dip chin machine. And one of the guys that trains in my gym, because I left it there, later in the day came over and asked me, who's the asshole that left the weights on the assisted chin machine? So this is just getting the 20s. If he wasn't able to get the 20s, I would have helped him, as you're going to see with, when I get to Tom, I'll help him do the sets to be able to get 20, but 20, 20, and 20. And then he's going to move on to sissy squats for a strip set there, which if I could have really had it my way, I would have had a leg press thrown in here as well. So there were 3 movements. Now I'm just applying extra eccentric force because it was too easy for him, and I wanted to make it as hard as I possibly could, because with this I don't want him to be able to walk to get to the sissy squat, and then by the time he gets to the sissy squat, his legs should be recuperated enough to be able to do at least 5 or 6 reps. But to just casually be able to walk there, it was going to take too many reps. So there should be some staggering going on. And then once he gets started, it is actually a little easier than what I thought it was going to be. So I yelled at them to grab me a med ball to make it harder, and then to do as many reps as he could with the med ball, keeping a neutral spine, which I'm trying to tell him to do right now. And he's doing a decent job, but not a great job. And then dropping the med ball and keep doing the reps after that.
7. Come on, finish it. 8. 9.
And I believe here he gets stuck.
That's all I had.
So the goal here is to not help them up.
Get up, get up, get up.
Make them get up on their own. It's a life lesson. Now there's a terminal knee extension. I think it gets cut off fast, but the terminal knee extension was just to work, just to finish off the quads. Sets of 20 with each one. Doing the same thing here with Tom, except the weight was selected a little bit better, so I have to help him get the 20 reps on each set, no matter what. So a lot of them are force reps. And then partials, because I thought he finished a little bit too easy. So just the tiny partials there, just to light the quads up.
Light your legs up, get your breathing down. Come on, go, 5 more. 1.
For bodybuilding type purposes, I like finishing stuff with really tiny partials like that for the same reason. These look terrible. It's a little bit better now, but we got rid of the med ball immediately because it looked like shit. Arms in the right position to try to help stabilize or put the spine in a more stable position, and focusing more on doing the movement right, which is just all verbal cueing to be able to lock it in. Meanwhile, keep in mind his quads are absolutely fucking shot.
Good. Okay, stand up, flex your glutes real hard. Stay there, lean back. Flex your ass, no, lean back, flex your ass. Cross your arms. You're gonna go down on a 10 count. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Cheating. Buying time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. One more like
I may have actually had him hold that top position and rest just to be able to do slow eccentrics that you see here.
go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up. Get your bearings before you step off.
And then he's going to do the terminal knee extensions. Band around the knee, flex the quad. It's okay to bring the heel up. You just want to make sure that the knee is going in a straight line and that you actually are working the quads. What I'm doing here is just a straight leg lift. I like to see the knee locked a little bit more. I'm doing this for the quad. It's actually built as a rehab movement for quad and hips and stuff like that. But if somebody's absolutely shot and their legs are done, it's a great way to finish them off, because it's at this point in time it's really hard for them to do, and it's really easy to do because they just sit on the floor and have to lift their legs. That was all performed as a giant set. Onto the hamstrings, seated leg curls. It was 100 total reps. So I don't know how many they got. It could have been 30, 40 full reps, and then it was going to the partials, which are basically just tiny hamstring contractions until you get to 100 reps, trying to keep the toe as high as you can. This is the seated calf raises, which should be supersetted with toe raises. I don't think we did anything here except a couple force reps. Oh, I guess we did superset this. So we supersetted it with standing one leg calf raises on a triple set. So again, you do as many as you can with one foot. You hook the other foot behind the leg that's actually, or the foot that's doing the work. That way you can put yourself in a position that if you can't get a rep, you can take your toe under your heel and give yourself a force rep and go back and forth 3 times. So it looks like that was the end of the training session.
Then breathe into it. Oh yeah, see? That's death.
Hey, wait. All right, guys, if you've been, I had this stupid shit. All right, guys, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, select the notifications, but also keep in mind, we do have a website. It's elitefts.com. On our website, we put up 2 new articles every single day, 7 days a week. We also have training blogs that are updated daily, coaching blogs which are updated daily, archived history of over 1 million Q&As that are on the website. So check out our website. Also check out our Instagram, which is at elitefts, and my personal Instagram, which is at @underthebar, as we're always putting new content there as well. So check them all out because we have different content on all different channels.